Welcome to another episode of the White Collar Tradie Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Zebranik. Join me as I chat with some of the most interesting, inspirational and successful people I've been fortunate enough to meet throughout my life and through my business journey. Throughout these conversations, we'll dive into the mindset of our guests and uncover some of the tips, tools and strategies they have implemented in their business and their life that has helped shape their success and make them the all-round incredible humans they are. Please enjoy. My guest today is Louis Parcell. Is it Parcell? Is that how I say it?
Parcell, yeah. Just the E is a 3 because the other username was taken. So yeah, Louis Parcell or Parsley.
And so Parsley, as you might know him, is one of Adelaide's most popular social media influencers, an entrepreneur, and certainly many other things which I'm looking forward to discussing on the White Collar Tradie Podcast. Louis, thanks for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. It's an awesome little setup, guys.
Well, look, mate, I actually wanted to start with a question I wanted to ask you since I first met you. And it's when you're like filling out a form at the motor edge, and it says your occupation, or when someone asks you, what do you do for a living? Like, how would you explain that to somebody? And how do you put that on the form?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. It's always changing. From eating, hot chips and doing challenges to, doing whatever it might be on the day. But I think TikTok or influencer is the one that I always put. And people, of course, we're from Adelaide and that, people are always like, oh yeah, you're an influencer, really? It's like saying like, I am a pro surfer. It's like, yeah, really? Or you just got like one sponsor from the local surf shop, whatever. So yeah, TikTok is my full, occupation, or influencer / TikToker. So yeah, that's what I put on usually, and usually get a few questions.
You get a few looks when you So sometimes you actually put TikToker.
Sometimes it depends the context, but influencer, I think TikToker narrows it down.
If it's actually like a legitimate like government form, then what would you put?
Legitimate government form, I'd say. I
was thinking maybe like content creator.
Artist, not. Online salesman. Online salesman. I think I do put content creator. It really depends. Content creator, Instagram, depends what language you want to speak.
Because I reckon that's such like a new. This just came to me then, but it's like when you got like the drop down boxes when you're filling out an online form that says like occupation. This is so new in the last 5-6 years. I don't think there'd be a drop down box for like content creator or.
No, there's not. The closest one is usually a media or media style things, but even that's sometimes a little bit like not quite there, which is crazy because like obviously media's been around for a while. But it's an interesting one. I just sometimes put I can put whatever I want on the day. Maybe I'm a plumber today. This that. I just choose on the day. If it's not there, just make it up.
Oh, sick. Well, and I'd like to just get maybe a bit of background on like when and why you started creating content. I suppose. How old are you and stuff?
It's been something that I've wanted to do for a long time, like a passion / like what I want to do as a dream. So started off, let's go right back. So when I was about 4 or 5, 6, I reckon I picked up a camera, started rocking around. I did this, the first video I ever did, right? I don't think I've ever talked about this, but first video I ever made was, we had these little chickens, right? And I thought, their world must be so different to ours, being down on the ground, right? So I had the camera and I was like walking around with the camera on the ground. And I was like, this is what chickens' lives must be. So that was the first ever Parsley production when I was about 6. And
was that on an iPhone? Was iPhone out there?
No, it was like a VCR, little,
with a flip out screen? Man.
Yeah, so it was
JVC.
on that little, 100%. So basically from there, went into like animations, so like I thought I was going to do like cartoons, sort of drawing and stuff, and then found YouTube and I was like, oh yeah, this is crazy. I'd actually say that like YouTube is one of my parents coming up. As a kid, they call it an influencer for a reason. You're heavily influenced by what you watch, and I realized that from a young age, who you're around and what you watch is very important. So started to jump to YouTube and watch a lot of people that I was like, I want to be like that when I'm older, learn lessons here and there. And then just slowly turned into travel vlogs, videos, this, that, and then comedy. And TikTok came out like 2 or 3 years ago. I kind of got into it 4 or 5 years ago. It just went crazy. I was just you were able to get videos that went really well views wise without, you can film it on your iPhone, which was crazy. That Never happened before. So that was like an eye-opening thing. And then from there, just took off.
So did you like adopt TikTok real early? Did you? Like, get on the platform really early, I suppose.
Yeah, there was some stuff that I saw on TikTok which was pretty hardcore. I won't get into it too much, but it was basically like, stuff that you see over in certain countries where people get, there's certain things that happen and it's crazy. I saw that on my page. I was like, whoa, this is crazy. They obviously filtered it down.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is because it was in a platform it was now. It was like very unfiltered and just this random meme thing. Put things up and it was like a million views of you just like, hey guys, I'm going to make bubbles in my water, sparkling water. It was it's still like that today, but it was very raw. So 4 or 5 years ago, and I was telling companies back then, I was like, yo, you got to get on this app. The views are crazy. I've never seen this before. They're like, oh, I don't think our company's ready for that now. And then, 4 years later, they're like, oh, let's do a video.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. It's very interesting. Like KFC, KO, all these big companies, they're like, nah, I don't think that's us. It's not really our style.
Oh.
Every platform, though, bends into mainstream sooner or later. So, yeah.
So you were hitting up. So well, that, man, who were you talking to within these companies? How did you know how to get to the right people to talk about this sort of stuff? Like early days when TikTok, you obviously could see something that they couldn't see, Yeah. And what did you get in touch with them on the socials or something? Or?
I wasn't. This is the reason they probably didn't believe in me as well, is because I didn't really have the following I have now. It was sort of like, I knew where I wanted to go. I had the belief. I was like, I know this is going to go somewhere, but I didn't really have the gold yet to say like, look, here's the evidence. So I understand from their perspective, like how it was a bit sort of like, who's this random little kid with like long hair? He's like in his 20s. We're multi-billion-dollar companies. We know what we're doing. But this is a good tip for everyone out there. The day and age we're in right now, or just a bit of a perspective change for everyone out there. When I was making videos when I first started, you had to do 100, 200, 300 videos to get 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
And you put 15 hours into every video. Now, if I tell a kid these days to, hey bro, just put 15 hours into a video and you get 200 views.
Yeah, it's not like a huge ROI on that.
They're going to be like, nah, man, I want to go viral tomorrow.
And
otherwise I'll give up.
Yeah.
So the reason I say that is because it gave me such a endurance. It's sort of like, that was the hard roads. And now it's like, if I even get like 2,000 views, it's low for me at the moment. Like that's very, very, very low. That'd be like really low. I'd be like, oh, that's better than back in the day. So I have that perspective of, I'm grateful for like every view, every like. I'm like, wow, I remember the days where I used to get like 2 likes, for years. So
for like, just for context, what is your followers over the platforms?
Yeah, so TikTok is 650,000, Instagram is 111,000, Snapchat 70,000, YouTube is like 8,000, 7,000, not crazy, but we're just getting started on the YouTube stuff properly. But yeah, that's.
And is it important to be across all the platforms?
Yeah.
Does one relate to the other in a certain way with the following growth?
Yeah, they do. They're all slightly different, but they're all copying each other. And it could be tomorrow that Instagram becomes like Facebook becomes like Instagram. And if they're all in a circle looking at each other, waiting for someone to make a move.
Yeah.
And as soon as someone makes a move, they go. And so they're all the same. Really, it's like a car. It's like, do you like Holdens, Fords, Mitsubishi? It's all just a car with wheels. And someone might bring in, Apple Play. Apple Play's a norm. And everyone just does that. All right, we've got air conditioning. All right, heat seating. And everyone just does that every few days, except in social media. It can actually happen so quickly that it's nuts.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're all the same.
Do they have, do you post different content across different platforms? Or, I mean, I'm guessing YouTube might be slightly different. Well, I might be wrong. Or do you... Yeah, is it selective as to what platform you're posting what type of content, or is it just like you post the same content across every platform?
It's an interesting question. I mean, look, I said they're all the same. There are slight differences, but then they sometimes correct themselves. TikTok is the most lenient. So you could just you know, talk with your mum and be like, hey mum, have a joke, and it'll go viral.
Yeah.
On Instagram, it's a little bit less likely, a little bit more professional. So the reason I say that is because my videos are made, I've got in the mindset of they're made for every platform. Mm-hmm. So they've sort of got that balance of craziness, but also a little bit of professionalism in a way. So they kind of translate in each platform. So yeah, I make sure they're all rounded for all platforms. Pretty much I upload them to all platforms. And sometimes they don't work, sometimes they do. It just depends on the day. It's like the weather, you know.
So is it a matter of like, because obviously you're pretty strategic at what you do. Hey, like you're thinking about everything in a strategic way. So are you like, does that mean you have to be across all the like different algorithms or something like that, you know, as to what makes something go viral? Do you know what I mean? Are you thinking about this sort of stuff all the time?
Yeah.
And learning, keeping up to date with it? Because I hear across all sorts of programs, they like, especially when they say like the Google algorithm changes all the time. Do they do that on social media too?
Yeah, they do. It's interesting actually. Pretty much every phone call, everything I do in the day is about like social. My mate will be like, yo bro, my mate, he did this and he did that and he put this text here and he's like, oh, that's crazy bro, look what's happening, it's changing, this guy went there, oh bro, try that, do this, oh this is nuts. Like every phone call I have is like every week, like I think about last week, I'm like, damn, there's so many changes in my mind, you know. Every week there's like phone calls, everything I do, look, podcast, this, that, social media, it's everything social media. Because the thing with social media that most traditional companies or businesses or business models have, that it's good and bad, have that social media doesn't have, is they can make an update tomorrow and be like, all right, everyone has to upload black and white videos. And that's it. So what I mean is the updates can happen at mass overnight. So for example, in other industries, maybe hairdressing, it's sort of like, you know, sort of similar throughout the last 20 years to a certain extent. I don't really know hairdressing, but, you know, it's sort of similar. You know, you cut this way, this and that, different styles, everything gets better and, you know, more efficient. But it's sort of like, you know, it sort of stays quite the same. But whereas social media is like, all right, watching big YouTube videos, everyone's watching vlogs and and now it's like, all right, we want 10 seconds done. Like, you know, or they just, it's just very fast paced moving. And
do you get like maybe like a bit of a word up that, oh, this change is coming? Or is it just like one day you get on there and it's different?
So if you are aware of it, you have a bit of a head up. So one right now, this is actually quite a interesting leg up for people that actually might not know about it. But right now, TikTok is looking at doing longer format content. Number one, because you connect with your audience more if it's long form. Because, you know, if I just say to you, you know, passing the street, hey mate, how are you? And then I go off. Or if I have a conversation with you for 20 minutes like this podcast, we can get to know each other more, and we know each other more from longer conversations. There's more of a connection and more likely to talk to you and engage with you and, you know, do whatever in the future. Same thing with social media. The second thing is that you can pump more ads on longer form content. So the platforms are actually TikTok. TikTok's moving their algorithm. They want to compete with YouTube. So coming back to what I said about the platforms all becoming all becoming the same. TikTok will start to, it's already happening. Like I noticed the other day, I'm very in tune with how I watch videos. That's the biggest thing for me. I'm on social media a fair bit. You know, like, I don't know what my phone thing is. I'll check it off. It's probably like 17 hours a day or something. But anyway, I always analyze what I'm like and what I'm doing and how I'm taking in the videos. And that almost is like my market reader of maybe a hint of something. So for example, for example, I was like, all right, I was making toast, right? And I was watching this TikTok video, and usually I just sort of be like, all right, time to put on a YouTube video. I flicked and it was a longer video. I was like, oh, this guy's got something to say. I put it down and I listened to it while I did and I was like, oh.
And you're saying like you got this self-reflection where you're like, oh, that's
YouTube
engaging
does
to me right now or something.
Yeah, I said that's what YouTube does. YouTube is long format, right? You know, like, have you seen podcasts on Instagram, right? Seen podcasts on TikTok? That didn't happen like a year ago. You didn't see podcasts. That's boring, you know, for the platforms back in the day. Podcasts are everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, like even just that shift of like, oh my, wow, that's crazy, you know. And when you see that, then it's go time, because like you know, you're head of how many plumbers do you know with a podcast?
None.
And probably
don't start anybody
don't
either.
start. Otherwise, if you deal with us guys, but no, You got to be ahead of that, you know, and you're in the same mindset
Yeah.
of that. Like,
Yeah.
all right, people aren't doing it. That's a good sign.
Yeah. So are you like, something I want to ask you was like, actually, because when we went out for lunch the other day and I thought about all these things you were saying is, are you sort of like, you seem to be so in tune with just like having this, I don't know how you'd explain it, but this like tune, like, antenna for like what's going to be viral or what's like, what's the word, like popular, what's sort of trending is the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
How do you stay on top of that sort of stuff?
That's interesting, actually, because I'll take you back to when I was younger. My dad used to always say, if I like it, it's about to be popular. So what I was going to say is, my dad used to say, oh, you're into it, Louis. Oh, it's going to be big soon. And I was like, oh, okay. You know, whatever. And then sure enough it was. Just for an example, like, so back in the day, the reason I mention this, it's not just like an ego boost, like, oh no, what's going to come? I'm the weatherman, you know. But it'll make sense in a sec. So back in the day, right, there's a lot of things. I was always at the school, I'd be like, oh, this is this and that, you know, first kid with the iPhone, first kid with skinny jeans, whatever it might be, right? And then everyone's like, oh, you're a weirdo. And then next year they're like, oh, actually, that's cool. You know,
Yeah.
we've all got it now. The reason I mention that is because with TikTok it was the same thing. It was like, hey, I know this is a good thing. People don't like it yet, but it's going to be a big thing. And I think if everyone does that, I think if they look at what they think might be popular and try it out, and they really believe with their heart that the world will do better from it, it probably is going to be a big thing. Do you know what I mean? Like maybe, you know, plumbing podcast isn't huge right now, but like you believe that it could be. So it's like, it probably could be. Like, you know, businesses are going to be like, if you're early to things, you're going to win.
Do you have an example of something that you sort of knew, or you had this deep feeling that you thought would be popular, but it wasn't yet, and then it became popular or like trending? Is there anything you can think of that?
Obviously TikTok is...
The TikTok thing is...
Yeah, that's obviously a little bit of a obvious one, like 4 or 5 years ago. Oh, yeah, I just like things that people don't like. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because I just like, it's fun to see them go, no, I don't like it. And you're like, I don't know. And then they just like prove them wrong silently. I don't know if it's that or if it's just... I don't know what it is exactly, but another example probably is, this is a stupid example, but just get ready. So it's not like anything crazy, but back in the day, I was the first one to wear ripped jeans, right? It's a stupid example, but in our community, it was a bit like, you know, ripped jeans is a bit weird, right? It was like, oh, you're homeless, whatever, right? Yeah. And everyone's like, oh, why are you wearing ripped jeans? That's weird. They were tighter than normal as well because we come from the baggy jean era, right? Anyway, long story short, the next year, everyone's like, yeah, skinny jeans and ripped jeans. And I was like, you know, I was already there. So that kind of, I don't know, it's just a stupid example, but it's, you know, if you genuinely see something in the forecast and you believe in it, then try it out. Yeah. And that's a stupid example, but, you know, that's kind of just a
no, I know what you're saying.
Thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah. At what point did you sort of, I don't think we covered this before, but what point did you start to think to yourself, like, this could be like a actual career path for me, like to become a full-time content creator? Was it like when you hit a certain amount of followers, or was it like when you start to see some sort of like momentum of like companies coming to you wanting to collab or something? Or like where does that happen, where you're like, okay, I might just bin uni now and I can actually look at this as like a career?
Well, even when I was at uni, I was like, nah, I know what I want to do, you know.
What did you do at uni, just quickly?
I did disability developmental education and rehab counselling.
Okay.
It's a bit of a long-winded thing. Basically, you become a master at, like, you know, working with disability, all this kind of stuff, and like rehab counselling. So yeah, even when I was at uni, I was making vlogs, like, you know, editing. So I basically, when I realised this could be I was going to force myself to make it happen. Yeah. Because I'd seen others do it. That's the other thing as well. People don't realise, they don't take inspiration from the people around them that are doing what they want to do. They look at it and go, oh, this person's got a Lamborghini. Oh, I wish I had one. I'm so sad, you know. And if you flip it and go, whoa, he did it. It's possible. And I basically, all I needed
I
was
love that mindset.
all I needed was one person to do it, and I'd be like, oh my goodness, it's possible. And no one could tell me it wasn't.
Yeah.
So, you know, I could see one guy, like, you know, make YouTube videos, and he's now a successful millionaire, like, has houses and all this stuff. All I needed was to see one person. If everyone else told me, nah, you can't do it, I didn't care. I was like, no, you can't. It can be done. It can be done. You can't say no because this guy did it.
Yeah.
You know, and oh yeah, he might have had this and that, but it doesn't matter. I can just adjust and whatever. So that's the biggest mindset for me to keep that motivation. Now, when I realized though, when this could be like proper, you know, income wise, probably around COVID time. So before COVID, I was like working as a mentor for kids with autism. Really good job. Loved it. It's really fun. But I knew I had like a higher calling of more people to talk to. And I started going live, doing these live streams, this and that. And my audience like really got around me and was like, you know, supporting, and we just have like random nights to talk about like this and that and do games and talk about, you know, strengthening your mind, bettering yourself. People seemed to really like it. And then they started to donate, and I was like, oh, this is crazy. You know, I'd made like $1 one night, and I was like, wow, that's crazy. You know, with my mindset though, I went $1 equals $10. Yeah. $10 equals $100. So it's a full-time job. If you can make $1, you can make $100. You can make $100, you can make $1,000.
I love that.
So I always think, everyone's like, oh, I don't know, man, it's not enough money, it's not enough this, I can't quit my job. I'm like, yo, people, if you make money from something, you can make more money. So it wasn't even about money. It was about, I knew I wanted to do that anyway, but I thought, Then I started to put more effort into it and go, all right, COVID's here. I stopped my job for a little bit. I was like, you know what? I'm going to pretend this is my job full on. I'm just going to be like, all right, put in the hours, and put in the hours so much that you think that you should be getting like a full-time wage from it, right? So I started to do that, and it started to like work out slowly. And, you know, same theory of little bits can equal big bits. And my audience started to grow. We started to connect even more. It started to become this whole community, and people seemed to really like get involved in it. And I was blown away. I was blown away with the support. And so, yeah, just kept on doing that. And I was like, you know what? Nah, we ain't going back to uni. Nah, we ain't. They were like calling me up. Uni's like, do you want to come back and enroll? Do you want to come back and enroll quickly? You better be quick. You're going to lose your credits. And I was like, that's so sad. See you later. You know, and I was like, I was terrible. I was crying myself to sleep for weeks.
Oh, I bet.
Seeing them by. But then I just,
that's crazy.
Rinse and repeat, did that until it became a bit more full time. I was still at my parents' house. This is the thing people don't realize. They're like, yeah, it must be so easy, this and that. But I was living with my parents till I was like 23. I didn't even have a car till I was 22.
Yeah?
Like, I didn't even have a car. I was borrowing my parents' car. Like, yeah. I barely even got that car when I first started. I barely even had enough money to get like a car back in the day. But I needed it for work. So, but yeah, when I first started, like I wasn't like, it wasn't just like day and night, click your fingers and it all happened. It was a long journey.
So you really it seems like, and I can attest for it actually, because sometimes I hook up at, 10 o'clock or look online and you're doing some push-up challenge or eating, I don't know, chili popcorn or whatever. So you're obviously like, you definitely have, you're just gone all in, haven't you? Because I reckon, are you going live every night?
Yeah, every night.
Every single night?
Every night. I've gone live for almost 3 years. 3 or 4 years. For about, last 2 years, probably about 7-8 hours a day.
Yeah.
So
do you have this planned out, of what you're going to do on what night? You know what I mean? Like, or does it come to you during the day and you're like, tonight I'll do this?
To a certain extent. I mean, it depends. Every day is different. I just get ideas from everything.
Yeah.
Like I'm looking around. Your mind's always on, so I might be like, whiteboards. All right, whiteboards. Names on whiteboard, or whiteboard, this, that. If you're always thinking, you could be like, this and that.
Yeah.
A drinking chat, whatever it is, We don't condone underage drinking, but you know what I'm saying? Like, for the people at home, every idea, there's a bike there, everything becomes an idea.
Yeah. That was something I was going to ask you a bit further down the track, but I'll ask you now, is that, and I sort of touched on it when we went to lunch, is like, that also seems really exhausting to have that sort of like, that monkey brain. Do you know what I mean? Like where everything is like an idea for you. How do you harness that and sort of like not go too overboard where you just drive yourself nuts? How do you find that happy medium of harnessing that sort of like I like to think of it as like you're like Jerry Seinfeld in a way where you can like make anything funny. You know, how do you harness that sort of energy?
Yeah.
And how do you not get exhausted from it is the other side of it, you know?
It's an interesting question because I always get a lot of people, they say to me, oh, don't burn out, or you might be careful you don't work too hard and this and that. And for me, it's like saying to someone, don't drink too much water.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, I think you can drink 22 liters of water a day before you start to like drown. I don't know about you, but I've never drunk that much water in my life. So it's the same concept. It's like, it's not for everyone, but for me, I sacrifice that subconsciously because it's what I want to do. I love it. Like and it sounds like, oh, I'm so passionate. You know, everyone says that, but it's not even, I don't even know it's passion. I think it's like obsession. I'm just obsessed. And if I'm not doing that, I just feel like, what are you doing? You're wasting your time.
Yeah. That's crazy.
So yeah, it's actually like a need. It's like I need to have an outlet for it. Otherwise it's just going to be like, it's going to be like a fire that just has no like taming. You know, you've got to get the water out and like trim this and that and always be aware of it. Otherwise it's just going to like, I don't know, it's just going to do. People with this kind of energy, I think, can go two ways. I think they can go into like a really, like the obsessive mindset you have. You can just go down a bad road, so might as well put it into something that's more productive,
you know,
for the world,
use it as a positive way or like a negative way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I love that.
Yeah.
And how did you, when, you know, for instance, like, I guess one of the things, the side question to that question was like, you know, like when, like I keep going back to when we had lunch, but we were sitting outside on the balcony at this restaurant and, you know, we were engaged with each other, but I feel like you did actually mention that you do struggle sometimes to like, you know, to see you're seeing all the star, you know, for instance, like everything is going off in your mind, like that's an idea, there's a car, red car, fuck, I'll do a podcast about a red car. Like how do you sort of like get yourself focused sometimes where you're just in the moment and not, because, you know, I feel like that might be pretty tough for you.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. And here's the thing, right? I think that we all do that. I think that we're all subconsciously like that. I think that you can, I think that it's interesting.
Entrepreneurial people, I feel like, definitely
they're crazy. You ever had a conversation?
I'm the same way, I suppose, where I'm trying to be present at home. I'm bad at, you know, and I'm just thinking about the next idea, I really struggle to switch off. So I guess it's a loaded question because I wanted to know, you know, if you have any strategies or learn anything along the way where you can be present and not be living in the future. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think the first thing is for that is your attention will be where it needs to be if you're interested in it. Mm-hmm. So, for example, we've all had conversations with people that we don't want to have conversations with, and we can tell. So just don't have those conversations.
Yeah.
I at the moment, I've surrounded myself with everyone I talk to, everyone I have conversations with, everyone I link up with in person it's going to be a good conversation. It's going to be like, I want to be here. I want to talk to you. And I think that anything else is actually not good for them, and it's not good for you, because they can sort of subconsciously tell, and you're not really giving your full effort. So I think that
it's like that value exchange that our you know, common friend we have, Mojo, talks about, isn't it?
Exactly. I think it is, and I don't think you can have both. I don't think you can have a mind that's always thinking of the next thing, but also always be present and relaxed. I think it's this isn't a negative thing, but it's a very like unsettling mindset to be in, because, you know, everything is an opportunity, but the beautiful thing is everything is an opportunity. Yeah. So most people are looking and they're like, I don't know what to do, you know, where's the opportunities? What am I going to do? Whereas we'd see it and be like, there's opportunities everywhere. Which one are going to take? You know? And
I reckon that in itself is probably a bit of a learned skill, you know what I mean? Like where, you sort of do have that innate, like, entrepreneurial sort of like thought process where everything is an idea, but you do get better at it over time, being able to harness like that sort of energy as well, where You know what I mean? It's like a
Yeah.
learnt skill as well. So when you say like to people like, you know, everything's an opportunity, definitely, and also, but it's something you have to work on as well. Like you have to be open to thinking like, you know, thinking in that way and not just like shutting off to like, you know, it's like an abundant sort of like thought process, you know, to think like that.
It's
Not
very
everyone
true.
has that in them. You know
It's
what I
very
mean?
true, and I think that it's something that sometimes the best way to do something is to force it. And the reason I say that is because when you started your business, when I started what I was doing, we thought it was all going to be sunshine and roses, and we had to like throw points where you're like, oh, we need to get this done now. Like there's no time to waste.
Yeah.
There was it was a must. We needed to get this done. There's bills to be paid. There's people to be, you know, looked after. And I think it's the same thing with ideas. What I did basically is say, I need 6 videos a day. You better make 6 videos a day. And I don't know who told me this, but someone said, if you tell your body you need to do it, it'll find a way to do it. You know, like,
That's right.
you know, if everyone was just like, oh, I can't do it, everyone would be homeless, because everyone finds ways to, you know, even people in low socioeconomic, you know, situations, they find ways to pay bills. So everyone can do it.
Yeah.
Everyone has the need to live.
Yeah.
You know, people make it through cancers, they do this and that. And so the human spirit is very strong, and people underestimate what they have inside themselves. And I think that if they realize that the fact that their body's kept them alive and they've got out of these car crashes and this and financial crises, that finding a few video ideas is just like the same concept, but less dangerous. You know, everyone's like, how do I find 6 video ideas?
Yeah.
Well, how did you find $600 to pay that bill that you couldn't pay?
Yeah.
You did it.
I
So
love that, man.
sick. There you go. It's the same mindset. Just adopt that and you're killing it.
So 6 videos is what's the, I mean, how'd you come to 6 videos?
I don't do 6 videos at the moment. I do about 3 or 4 on Instagram, about 1 or 2 on TikTok, about 6 on YouTube, and then my other TikTok is about 10-ish.
So consistency seems important across
Yes.
social media.
Yes. And these are videos, some of them are the same video. So you think like, oh, that means you've got to do, that's about 20, over 20 all up, right? I think if I do the maths right. But some of those videos are the same video. So it's actually cut off 4, it's the same one.
Yeah.
If you make it in the right style, it's the same video. So yeah, when I first started doing social media, I was just like, you know, it was like 9 videos on TikTok a day. It was just like I would have made like 2 before I walked in here.
Yeah.
Hey guys, oh look, it's a mic. Like it was stupid stuff.
Yeah.
Don't even go back. I've never deleted a video. So
Don't-
you guys want to go see?
Is it cringy? Some of them?
Nah, it's not good. It's not good. But if you want to laugh, go look at it. You have to swipe past like thousands of videos, so that's the barrier. If you can do that, then you can have the reward of the cringy videos. But yeah, I basically was just like, this platform rewards numbers, and I was like, all right, cool. It's numbers instead of good 1 videos.
Yeah.
It's chopped up, you know. So yeah, I just did that. I was about 9 videos, and then I was about 11 videos at one point, but that was just too much. So I dropped it back for at the moment it's 3 on Instagram. So about 3 or 4 on Instagram and my main socials.
So what rewards more followers, I suppose? Is it the volume, or is it the quality? Or I suppose the obvious question then is it both? In the balance, how do you, what's the best way to gain more followers, I suppose, is what I'm asking.
Yeah. It depends what niche you're in. Because if you're doing podcasts, you can't like, you know, muck around like you can in a public prank or, you know, that kind of thing. So it depends what you're doing. And then what you do is you study your market and you apply what's gone viral. So I've done this a few times. So before I do a new niche, right, like gym, for example.
Yeah.
All right, gym, let's look up gym. Right, what's going viral in gym? Is it that? Cool. I write down all the words, 1 word for each video. So this one's got 2 million views. What is it? It's funny. What's the next one? All right, this one is, there's a girl, so sex appeal, whatever. This one is, it's motivational. All right, motivational. And then you start to string together, and you do it long enough, you find the 2 or 3 words, and all you need is the word for a video. So you go, all right, I need to make a video. What does it need to be? It needs to be motivational. It needs to be different. It needs to be wow or shocking, whatever it is. And then you'd have the word for your niche. My niche is comedy mainly, and entertainment, but so my word is basically plot twist. That's one of my words, plot twist, which this is the thing, they generally work for everyone's videos. So if you apply what I'm saying, funny, whatever, sex appeal, whatever, that works. It's going to work. Doesn't mean you have to use it, but it's just things to think about. So for example, I use the word plot twist. So for example, we could be like, hey Louis, what do you think about this? And at the end I'll be like, da 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 da. Oh, and also if you throw water at the camera on the podcast, it's going to go, that.
Yeah.
So that's like, oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what makes it viral. Otherwise it's just a conversation and everyone's like, oh, cool, yeah, whatever. And they're not going to share it. So you want people to share it. Because when they share it, you get more views.
Yeah.
When you get more views, it goes viral. And when it goes viral, you get more followers. So the formula is, if it gets shared, you get followers pretty much. And then you break down that equation to the word here, word that, whatever, like in science kind of thing. And then you get the formula of followers. Yeah. And if you just study that, mix up the chemicals, then the explosion happens.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really cool info. And I wanted to follow up with, can you see if you get 100,000 shares, you'll usually get X amount of followers, or is there like a sort of like a equation that you can see that's common that happens?
Yeah, I mean there is and there isn't. You can never really predict it. It's always different because the video might be such a passing video that they don't really connect. That's the other thing. People might not connect with so I'll do a video, right, or we say something and they're like, oh, that's really cool. It might be something stupid. It might be like, oh, I don't like the way that Louis spoke, so I like the video, but I'm not going to follow him. It might be something so subtle than that. It might be the fact that I don't say, hey guys, make sure you hit follow at the end. It might be so many little things. It might be the fact that it's a comedy video rather than this video. So comedy may be this and that. And so this is the recipe. The more views, the more followers. Yeah. So I think that's the thing. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And in regards to the niche thing, is it important for everyone who, say for a young person who might watch this, and wants to be a influencer, is it important for them to have a niche, or is it like, does every well-known influencer have like a niche, or is some people just onto everything? Is it important to have a niche, basically?
Yeah. It's an interesting question because my niches are always changing. I'm doing gym content, I'm doing pranks, I'm doing podcasts, I'm doing whatever. So I personally don't like to limit myself, which has been good and bad. If you want to blow up, you need a niche to a certain extent because people follow that. Now, the problem is people get stuck in their niche. So you need actually one main niche that's kind of like the viral niche. So for me, that was the Aussie content.
Yeah.
So the Aussie content. Yeah, mate, how are you? Struth. We're on a cheeky little podcast here with my left-hand man, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, the Aussie stuff was like the gateway drug. So people that got the numbers and boosted things. So then what I did is I went, well, I'm not just like Aussie accents. I want to also, what is the brand? So it's fitness, it's gym, it's motivation, it's podcast, it's talking, it's lifestyles, it's pranks, it's business, it's serious stuff. So everyone has a gateway video or style of content. Then once you harness that, be aware of the next step, because when the iron's hot, you got to use it while it's hot, because otherwise it gets cold. Yeah. Most people, they blow up. We all know the guy or the song. Let's do the songs. Everyone can relate to this, right? The one hit wonder. The one hit wonder was just an idiot who didn't strike while the iron was hot. Everyone was watching him. Why didn't he release a song next week? He was like, yeah, man, let's go.
That's a good way to think of it.
Maybe he was busy. I don't know. Or maybe they had other things going on. But when the iron's hot, so when I have a viral video that's gone well, I go, all right, game plan is open up the next sector because everyone's coming in the door. Yeah. If everyone's an Apple buying the new iPhone and then you say, hey guys, there's a new, wireless speaker that floats in the air, there's eyes already looking at it. Yeah. So use the eyes while it's there. Yeah. you just got to find out, and it's a numbers game. So how you find out what that is you need to put in the work. So I put up like 3,000 videos, 5,000 videos. So I know sort of, I have a bit of a, all right, I can link the dots, connect them.
Mm-hmm.
So whereas most people sort of give up at like a few videos, so how do they know what's even going to work?
Yeah.
So you have to have that. You have to mess up. You have to know what works, because you might think, everyone always says to me, bro, this is going to be a good idea. Oh, it's going to be a good idea. They try it out, it doesn't work. Doesn't matter, move on to the next one. But the next one that you have might be the viral idea.
Yeah.
That might be the gateway to your next. You want to talk about wrenches and plumbing and nuts and whatever it is. So you need to do experiments to find out what explodes.
And what on that, what like is the point where you go, right, this is what I would class as a viral video?
Yeah.
Is there a number or something, or is it like how quickly it's getting viewed? Do you know how do you look at that?
I mean, viral for everyone is a different number, I guess. You know,
Yeah.
Say if my mum got 10,000 views, she'd be like, "Oh my goodness, I'm viral, I'm famous."
That's a good point.
What
Yeah.
about in public? Please help me, because people are going to say hi, you know, or whatever. But for me, a viral video is for me, it's at least 1 million. I think 1 million's like, wow, that's cool, that's good viral. I think that a good video like that's going really well is you know, a few 100,000. That's like, wow, that's good. I'd still consider that like viral. But just because my industry, right, I know guys that have got like 20 million views, 50 million, they got like,
Yeah.
you know, 10 million followers. So for me, it's the standard's a little bit higher for what I consider viral personally. But viral is just, I don't know what the definition is. But
Like you said, it's different for everybody, isn't it? Because
like if you did a video and, you know, on this podcast, this went well and you got like 10,000 views, you'd be like, yo, in your industry, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's viral.
Definitely.
So it is viral. Yeah.
Yeah,
Depends
I know
what you
exactly
want.
mean. Yeah, definitely. I wanted to. You have had some pretty like epic collabs and like well-known companies, and I just wanted to know like how have they come about, and can you let us know some of the pretty cool collabs you have done?
Yeah. So I'll run through a few companies. I'm not going to be able to name all of them, but so we'll just run through some companies. So like KFC, KO, Hungry Jack's, McDonald's. I'm talking to Nike at the moment. JD Sports. We've done Vegemite. Who else? Wheat Bix. Who else? I can't even think. But yeah, lots of brands. Nando's, like heaps, a lot of brands. But that's just a few I can think of. I can't think who else.
And yeah, so how do they come about? You know, how does that actually start? Is it someone's getting in your DMs or something like that?
Yeah, it's a bit of both. That's where I was going to lead to. So these companies, right, they're quite big. So when I first started and when I was doing my videos, I was emailing some, but they don't really listen. So the best way to do it, what I found as a young influencer, was these companies listen to authority, right? And who has authority in their eyes, which we actually have more authority, but that they think is marketing agencies and being an agency. So I was lucky enough to get approached by like 3 or 4 agencies, big ones in Australia. Pretty much every brand in Australia that's big is with one of these agencies. So, you know, I was basically with them, and then from that, the opportunities came through them, and I just sat back and they would just sort of say to me, hey, this and that. And I would just basically, my game plan was like, I can make the best video in any niche ever. That's what I can do, you know, and I can get the deal done no matter what. Like I will make it happen, and I'll be able to make an idea in any niche. So basically, they saw that, and that started to grow, and people were like, oh, he can do that. Well, he can do this, and he can do sports, and he can do food, and he can do this. And then basically it just became like, oh, Louis can do a collab, and we'll just see if he can do it, you know?
Yep.
And that's how that started. But I mean, sometimes it was, I'd say, you know what? I'd say probably like it was like a 10% cold call rate that worked. 90% was that strategy, the other strategy.
Are they coming to you with the ideas, or are you giving them the ideas for these videos?
This is an interesting question. Very interesting question. They usually come with some kind of idea,
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
And the videos don't do
it's
too
cringy. Is that what he was going to say?
well. The videos don't do too well. Like, it's, you know, if I say to you, like, what's up, guys? You know, got a couple of cheeky little plumbified water bottles here. Mate, best water in the game. You know what I'm saying? It'll clean your pipes. You know, that's better than if I say, hello, guys. Plumbing, gas fit, leak detection, and roofing. Plumify is going to be the best water. That, you know, you've already lost me. So basically, I'd always say to companies, like, if you can give me as much, like, just
like creative freedom, is it?
Creative freedom, it's going to be so much better. But they usually come with a bit of a script. I'm doing one at the moment. I won't mention names, but I just know it's not going to go well. If it's re-scripted, it sounds like I'm ready. We'll make it sound natural, but I just know the views aren't going to be there. You're not going to share this video, but yeah, I hope that the industry changes, because it will do them a lot of good if they just say, hey, you know what you're doing, put on our brand name and try and incorporate the brand. Like, just run with it.
Yeah.
Those videos, I've had viral videos. I've had a video that's got 5 million views. Yeah. That was that way. People were like, is it a brand? Is it an ad? Is it not?
It's almost like just trust him. Like, he clearly knows what he's doing. Like, just give him. You give him the creative freedom to. That's what he does. You know.
Yeah.
I feel like saying to these people, just let him go. Let him do what he needs to do.
Well, it's not even like I know it might sound like for some people like, oh, it's an ego thing. He wants to do it himself. No, it's seriously like, if you're paying this money, like, I want to do good for you. I know this is going to be what you're paying for. Like, you know what I mean? I want you to get the best. So, I really hope that's why I'm talking to you, because I genuinely believe that companies should have the best, because they've got a good product. Why don't they have a good advertisement service? And that's kind of what my mission is the next few years, is like to open up people's eyes and be like, hey, like, if you do it this way, I know you might have thought it's this way, but like, this will be so much better. And if you start to get to that mindset, you'll be a lot happier.
It's like a bit of like getting to like sort of a consulting level, like, isn't it? Like, that's really what it is. I feel like it's like social media consulting. Like, hey man, like, I do this for a living. Just give it to me. That's a sick idea. I love that.
Well, the problem is that most of these companies, and no offense to them, but they have these people who have, mainly what I've seen is they come out of uni and they haven't got a social media presence, and they sort of say, I've got a degree and this is awesome, right? And degrees are really there for a reason, but social media moves so fast that 4 years ago, TikTok wasn't even around. So the language we're speaking now is a complete different language. So if you want something to go viral back in the day, it was like, all right, let's get a big light and everything's perfect, and get a script and get all these costumes changes and get the big cameras and what's the budget? It's $100,000. All right, then we're going to pump $1 million into advertisement on TV.
Yeah.
Like, that's not going to work.
What is it more like raw now? Is it like?
It's very raw. It's like, okay, choose the creator and imagine, change the colors a bit, and it's now slap the brand on there, do what they do, branded. So you have to actually choose the content creator for what they actually do, rather than what you want them to be.
Yep.
You know, so that's one thing that I think that companies will have to do. Otherwise, they will lose long term, or they'll just go broke. Like, I know companies that are huge $1 million companies, and I have more followers than them. Like, that's not.
Yeah.
They should be on millions. You know, even like Kmart, Target, like some of these companies, some of their social medias, they're good, but it's like they should be so much more. There should be so much more. They have the resources to do this. I don't. I'm just some guy in my house. You know, how have I done it? You know, if they could do it on that scale of 100 times, they could really destroy the industries.
Yeah, you must get, going back to that point, you must get, you know, some people who, like you said, and there would be some good operators out there, no doubt, but they might have just done a uni degree and they're working for a huge company and they're coming at you with some idea, like you said, some idea, and you're like, oh man, that's just not cool anymore. You know, so that must be interesting.
It might be a good idea, but it's like, I know my audience.
It's the execution, like.
Exactly. Like I've spent, I don't know how many hours, but let's just say like thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of hours looking at my audience and understanding what they like. And someone's come and saying, no, we know your audience, read off a script. It's like, I don't know if that's going to work. But it is what it is. I mean, if these companies want to pay money for that, it is a deal at the end of the day, and I can only do so much. As long as they're happy, as long as they're happy and they go, yep, this and that, then there's not so much you can do, but I hope that the industry does change. It is just slightly, but yeah.
And speaking of, the brands coming at you, like, this is a very amateur question from someone who doesn't know anything about social media. How do you actually in the real world monetize a social media like platform or platforms? I'm guessing it might be different across different platforms, but is it I'm guessing like their Instagram might be the sponsorships or the stars that they buy, and then also there's like the branding side of things. I'd just like to know how that sort of works from a kid who might be thinking, I want to become an influencer, but doesn't even know how the actual point where you can start monetizing it works.
It's a very simple question. Sorry, very simple answer to this question. There's no limits.
Yeah.
There's actually no limits to what you can monetize through social media. And the reason I say that is because it's a very good question. Very good question. Because a lot of people are asking, how can I monetize this and that? Any way you want.
Yeah.
Everything in this room right here, water, for example, if you build up a following and you tell them that, I have a water product, monetization.
That's just, I guess that's what Jake Paul
has
done, isn't it?
Yeah. If you build up an audience and you say to them, hey guys, we do furniture, the table's sold, money.
Yeah.
Build up an audience, you say, hey guys, let's do podcasts, let's learn about good audio, microphones are sold. Everything, you can monetize anything, because social media is a form of marketing. So I guess you're just marketing whatever you've created. That's why I think that companies, every company could be on social media and succeed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is everything you do, I sort of touched on it before, but is everything you do like thought out, like the sequence of, you're going to release this video on this day and to this platform, and you're not just like, or are you just willy-nilly like, this is a good idea, bang, this is going to go straight up? Or are you like, oh no, I'm going to release this video on this day after I've done this one because they sort of relate to each other and I want this one to, precede the other one? Do you think about it in like a really strategic way? Yeah.
That's a very good question as well. Everything I do is strategized, and nothing I do is... It's always got a little bit of thought. Mine might not be heaps of thought, but it's always got some sort of like, all right, cool, that's the best. It might have been quick decisions, but it's always got a decision in it. So with that question, do I plan which videos I upload in a row? Yes. So here's the main concept. Coming back to the gateway video. So you have to have a video that opens up the floodgates this is what I do. I have a video that opens up the floodgates every day for possibility of virality. So that video is just crazy, or it's, a clip from this that was just like stupid or whatever it might be. It's the crazy gateway every day. So every day I expect to potentially go viral. Every day. Then what I do is I feed off that, and I basically put in a little bit more of a niche, but it could potentially go viral, but it's not like the end of the world if it doesn't.
Yep.
Then really depends what you do. Really depends what you want to do, but that's how I formulate it. That's the simple essence of what I do is there's always a gateway, there's always a potentially viral video, and then there's always the videos that I want to, for a company, for example, you would have a gateway, something just bizarre, weird, someone mucking around doing something.
Yeah.
Then you would pump the little bit more niche thing because it kind of rides off that. So that's that's the game plan that I have at the moment. It's always changing. This is like a new thing. This has been the last few months. Will it work forever? I don't know. Is it the best way? There might be better ways for everyone else. I know people that don't do that. They do one big video a week that's good. I know people that do 3 videos that are just like a bit like, cool, and they sometimes go viral. I know people that do 1 a day that's potentially viral. I know people that, upload this and that. I do think though, the more you upload, the more you put in, the more you get out. But just try what works. I've done the one big videos. I've done this, that.
Yeah.
For my mindset and my personality, I like to just get it all out. But something might work better for someone else.
And do you think the way it's working is also dynamic? Like how you were saying, like, you know, one year it might be 6 videos a day in that order, and then like all of a sudden you're seeing, oh, this isn't having the same effect anymore, and then you're realising, oh no, it's more like 2 long form videos, or is it, say, pretty consistent across all the platforms?
Yeah, this is the one thing that I'll say. People are getting used to seeing crazy things. They've seen the cat go across the power line and almost die. They've seen the guy do a triple backflip on a motorbike. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
You know, we're so unshockable. It's crazy. So, I mean, the cheapest way to shock people is to say something crazy.
Yeah.
So, for influencers out there that want to go crazy, words are free. So if you just start shocking people for free by talking, or the opposite way, you don't have to do it in that way. You could do it in the way that you help people. You could help, if you help loads of people, you're also doing the same impact. It's free words, you know. That's why podcasts took off, because it's like this, such a give from the person who's doing the podcast, but it doesn't cost $1 billion to get it out there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. Yeah.
It's like a book throughout history. You know, people are just, all these people, you hear these books, these ancient people, they're like, oh yeah, barely even, you know, all the sales of these painters that didn't even, like, homeless and all this stuff, impacted the world, and they didn't even like have $5. You know, just wrote out these books, you know, or running out of ink while I was writing the most important book in the world. And now we live by these books. It's crazy.
So it's like you're saying you can create a lot of value without it costing you a lot of money. I guess is that one of the messages, I suppose.
Yes. Well, just as we were saying,
it's easy to do it, isn't it, now?
Exactly. And just as we were saying before, you were like, oh, you know, I wish I had the thing that's coming, this and that. We said the best way to do it is start, and you did that.
Yeah.
So you're already ahead of the game, because most people are worrying about what phone they got and this and that, whereas you're already ahead starting. You know, that's.
Would you have any info, like any advice to, you like, because I loved what we said about that before, to like a young kid who is getting that, like, you know, analysis paralysis type mindset where they just they can't get started because they don't have the latest iPhone 14X Pro Z.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's just start, hey.
Yeah. The best thing is, I know a lot of people who you guys probably watch have millions of views. You might have seen them on the For You page, this and that. We used to use cameras. They all use iPhones now.
Yeah.
They all use iPhones. If you need a good quality, you need to zoom in for a prank or whatever it is, use 4K. The cameras are 4K. Yeah. People aren't watching videos because it's amazingly crisp and everything. They're watching it because it's of how it makes them feel. If the video quality makes them feel a certain way, yes. But focus on the content. Casey Neistat, I don't know if you know him, but back in the day, he used to always say content is king. So, and he used to film on like...
Who's Casey?
He's a YouTuber. He basically, like, vlogging. He started the whole vlogging. He vlogged every day for like a year.
Casey
Neistat.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a really cool guy from New York.
Yeah.
And content is king. Content is king. So make good videos, even if the angles are on your phone, this and that. You know, also be very closely what you analyze, what you watch on social media. Analyze what you watch, right? Are the videos you watch all filmed on a Netflix camera? Or is it just someone's phone?
Yeah, true.
It's all just how you makes you feel.
Yeah.
You know, I could say such an impactful thing and it might be filmed on a potato. And if people resonate with it and share it, it's viral.
A potato 14X.
Exactly. You know, get the new... Yeah, that's what I'm using right now.
Are you saying it's more about the content than the production?
Yes.
But I guess the production, on the flip side, is also important, isn't it?
Yes.
Because we spoke about that before with the...
It is.
How you... And this is one of the questions I want to ask, so it leads in perfectly, is like... for instance, that video you had, I love it. I love this video you did about the parking sign.
Oh, yeah.
For whatever reason, that just really tickled me, man, that one. And you have that way, and I think maybe some of it comes down to the editing, and is like how you can take that sort of... And I keep coming back to Seinfeld, because it's sort of like that, is where everyone does that without even noticing they do it. It's like where you, for context, it's like where you park a car, and you got such a good park, and you just don't believe the parking sign. You have to read it like 10 times. And it was so brilliant because like you had this way of sort of like getting that out whereas like, and everyone, especially me, I was just like, that's me every day, but I don't even realize I do it. And I guess what I'm trying to ask you is like, so that's definitely about the content, but then you also have like a creative way of making it really engaging as well, isn't it? Because we spoke about that over lunch, how you could say, oh, it's a parking sign and I have to look at it 5 times because it can't be right. That's boring as hell. But you've got that way of like making the content also produced and cut and like spoken about in that certain way that makes it really engaging.
Yeah. Well,
I love that video.
we should play it.
We should.
There's one word that I reckon that encapsulates it. It's how you make people feel. So if having a professional setup makes people feel what you want them to feel, that's good. If doing a video just because the feeling's there, that's why I make videos in the moment, because the feeling's there and I forget what it feels like to make this and that. That's why I made it in the moment. So as long as the feeling's there and you get the emotion out, if it's filmed on an iPhone or it's filmed on I could have filmed that video on a good camera, but probably the feeling wasn't there, and I was the feeling was the video. It was like, oh, this is so funny, you know. I'm looking and I'm like, hang on, this is awkward, this is weird, this is, you know, people looking at me, you're funny, you know. Nah, better go find another spot. You know, that's what I felt in my mind. So I was like, well, cool, we got it out there. The feeling was there. So as long as that's why when I was talking about the gym thing, right? They're the feelings of the video. So, you know, what do you want people to feel? Do you want them to feel empowered, like laughing? As long as that gets out, that's good. You know, and that's all it is.
Was that a viral video, by the way? Because oh god, I saw it should have been.
Yeah, it was. It's around 50,000, 100,000, something like that. Yeah.
What is your most viral video? Do you know?
I was in hospital. Have you seen it?
Oh, probably. Can you play it?
Yeah, let's do it. So for context, I was actually I'd just broken my foot, and it was a long night in the hospital. It was like 9 hours in hospital. And you know when you're in pain and you're laughing so much that it's trying to take the pain away with the laughing. So basically, I was like, all right, well, I've broken my foot. I'm in the emergency room, right? Everyone's got there's blood, there's vomit, there's freaking everyone's full on the ground. It's Saturday night I went in there at about 10. It's just clocked over to about 1, so you can imagine the scenes. It's like a battlefield, like a murder scene.
Yeah, no one wants to be at the hospital.
So this is the video. This has got 16.9 million views. I don't know if we show the camera or show you.
Maybe both, and then just chuck it up to the microphone as well, so the microphone can hear it.
Do you want me to? Should I like tell them where it might be to edit or?
Yeah.
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 So just for context, if you just look up Parsley on TikTok, Parsl 3Y, it's called TikTok in hospital, and it's pinned at the top of my videos and it has 16.9 million views. Here, I'll show you this one. There it is. It's for context for editing. Just that. Yeah. All right. Let's watch it. Let's have a look. You wanna watch it?
Yeah, bro.
All right. Let's do it.
What are you guys in here for?
I fell in the shower.
Did you try and dye your hair? Did it go wrong?
I was trying to go for blonde. Why are you here?
He's trying to be cool at a party. He did a flip off a chair and it slipped. What are you guys in here for?
I fell in the shower.
So that's actual blood.
That's an actual real chick in the hospital.
Yeah. She was so funny. Shout out to that girl. She was so funny.
Yeah.
She was.
Did she know she went that viral?
Yeah.
Like, have you ever spoke to her again?
No, I was actually in a relationship at the time, and everyone's like, "Oh, when are you going to go on a date?" And I was like, and my girlfriend's like, "I'm with her." And there was so many comments coming down.
Yeah.
I don't know how many comments were on it. Let's have a look.
So that's pinned at the top of TikTok.
Yeah, pinned at the top of TikTok. I think it's like 3 over. You'll find it. So it's got hospital Parsley Parsl 3Y.
Oh, dude, that's so classic.
Yeah. So basically, I genuinely made that video and I was like, this is going to be funny. This is a good memory. I can't even hardly think.
Yeah.
Give me something to edit because I can't film for a little while. And I did not expect that. It was not
break
planned.
your foot, by the way?
I did a flip off a chair and...
For a video?
Yeah, no, someone was filming it.
Oh, so there's a video of you breaking your
foot
somewhere.
There's an actual story video of it. If you look up Parsley breaking foot, there's a whole story of it. Then there's a video of me doing a flip after I've healed it to see if it breaks again, and it didn't break.
Oh.
So I broke 3 bones in my foot.
Yeah.
So I was actually, here's the context, right? So I was actually, we need to put this video up, eh? We need to get this video.
Go on.
Let me try to find it. So for context, that's like my party trick, right? You know, everyone's like, yeah, you're dancing. I'm like, all right, put a chair out there and I'll do a flip off it, all right? You know?
Everyone's got a party trick.
Exactly. This party trick didn't work so well. So we'll just foot flip, Parcell foot flip. Is this going to come up? Yeah, cool. All right.
So on TikTok, you can search a video name, can you? So I didn't even know that.
TikTok's really good for that. Instagram hasn't really caught up just yet, but it's like Google. You can look up on TikTok. Like,
that's
if you want to
a
search
great idea.
anything, it's so good.
Yeah.
So instead of going, oh, where's my video? Parcell foot flip, and it's up there. It's really good.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Platforms need to get onto that. It's
Yeah,
like YouTube.
That is really that's powerful.
It's really good. So it's a story here. Oops. Yeah, if you guys just look up Parcell foot flip, it'll come up.
And I broke my foot a few months back, and a lot of you guys have been asking how I did it. That's how I did it. Usually this works out alright, but like this time here.
Oh, it's one of those flips too.
3.5 bones. One of two things can happen. You break my foot, or it'll be fine. I am back.
So I do. That's Sam Frickett's one of my mates. He's a good guy.
He's a friend of Mojo too, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a good guy. So so anyway, I broke my foot and I haven't done it since, but usually works out alright.
What a story! I wanted to ask you about the You definitely have, and you were talking about your niches, and one of your niches is the gym, and I definitely have. I know that you've got a bit of a passion for men's. Would you say it's men's health or men's empowerment or embracing your inner man? Maybe is how I see it.
Yep.
I'd just like to, and with that in mind, I've got a little bit of a flip side question to that is, I'd like to hear your thoughts on Andrew Tate.
Oh, it's a good one.
Because I feel like maybe those two things are connected, is why I asked them in one question.
Yeah. It's a very interesting question. I think, you're right. That the word that I guess would encapsulate it was masculinity. The reason that I resonate with what Andrew Tate said is because I found growing up there wasn't a lot of masculine figures in my life. There was a lot of men, but there was points where I was like, I thought that you would do that, or thought that this would happen. And I'm not talking about people I'm not trying to belittle anyone in my past or my father or anything, but there was people that I was like, there's this little thing that they just, it's not super masculine. They sort of fell on that bit or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of guys resonated with that. He went viral because people resonated with him, not because he, annoyed a lot of. He did annoy a lot of people, but he also empowered a lot of men.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like he said before, he had all the algorithms working against him. Mm-hmm. If you say this and that and females and males do this, everyone's like, oh my goodness, everyone's the same, But there's biological things that, for most people, we do have, you know what I'm saying? So, and you can't fight biology. You can to a certain extent, but it only goes so far. You know what I mean? If a woman has a baby, there's certain things that happen in her body biologically that she feels. And that's just the way it is. And same thing with the men. And I realized that there's certain things that men need to know. And basically, what I'm coming back to is these things are not being taught because our education systems is quite, like I said, a very interesting topic, but it's quite serious because our education system is, childcare, females, teachers, mostly female. And the problem with bringing up a man like a woman is that there's certain things for most men that it's like this fire inside them that's just gonna break free if they don't know what to do with it. So what Andrew Tate kind of taught guys like myself and the younger generation is, if there's this fire inside you, make sure you use it well. Yeah, because you can really do some damage. So make sure you go to the gym. Make sure you look after people.
Actually,
look after you.
I've never thought about it like that. That's
really cool. Because that's testosterone, right? So that's why we're different. Because everyone's like, we're the same, but we're actually not. We're very different because guys, in history, what do you think of? Battles, wars, killing.
Yeah.
You don't usually think of, you know, females go in there, they're trying to want to kill someone, you know, it's always like, you know, it's always guys.
Yeah.
Because we have this nature to go out and conquer. That's why we're business, it's the modern day conquering. It's legal conquering of cities, you know. You can conquer a city.
It is actually like that.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
So, and that nature will never go in us. That nature will just never, no matter how much you fight it. Because I tried to fight. This is why I was very in tune with what I was feeling myself, and I was feeling that like, what is, you know, it's not the way I think it is. Why am I not this, and why am I not succeeding? And there was this fire that was just like burning and doing nothing. It was just burning me.
Yep.
What I did was first thing I started doing when I was younger is going to the gym. So I was like, all right, it was like an outlet, you know, sports. Is why I say, go and play sports, go outside and run around, because that fire needs to be used, otherwise it burns people.
Yep.
So when I realized that, all I did was I flipped it into using it for like motivation and energy, you know, and that's what masculinity is. It's using the fire inside you for good or for the betterment of the world, you know, and that's what he taught. And he might have some opinions on certain things that people might not agree with, and that's okay, you know. All of us,
everybody, I
it's
suppose.
like everyone, you know. We can have different things on how, you know, this should be done and that should be done, but you know, I think there's certain common traits between most men that he's saying that people are resonating with. Do you know what I mean? And I think that no one's saying it because we get shut down by saying that, hey, guys have a fire inside them and they need to use it carefully and look after people, and it feels good when you look after a family and provide for them financially. And it's not like, you know, when I provide for my woman, you provide for your wife, you're not there to like hurt them and say you can't work. I'm just saying you don't have to work. If you don't want to, you have the choice now. They have the choice to do that. We don't. We have to do it. We have to get it done. But it's beautiful. You know, that's empowering. That's really empowering women.
I love that.
That's really empowering.
I wasn't sure I was going to ask you that, but
and that's the thing that it really gets me upset with the whole situation, is because that's such a beautiful thing, and it's worked for hundreds of years. It's worked for hundreds of years.
do you think the reason he's gone like so viral because he's saying in one hand things that people can really resonate with that haven't been said before, but on the other hand it totally pisses off a whole nother bunch of people? Is that like, it's like this mix of like perfectness to go viral?
Well, he's a very smart man. And if you watch him long enough, and this is the thing, the English-British humor is very unique, and not a lot of people get it. And he is British, and he's American. He's a marketing. He's got marketing to a T. And he's basically, he's said this before. He's done this. He's done what he did to the world before. Basically, he told people certain things to annoy them, and then brought out a course for the people who are not good at that. So, for example, let's just say you say, oh, you know, you're this way inclined health-wise, and then they'll get all annoyed, whatever. You bring out a course that's to fit that, and then they just go buy the course. He literally did that, but he did it on a mass scale. He just did now. So, so he fooled everyone. Everyone's like, oh my goodness, give him publicity.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that the things he says, a lot of them have to be taken with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If we can joke, you know, when you're having conversations with the boys, you've always got that little smirk. And if you look closely, he'll sometimes have that smirk. And that's all it is, you know. Yeah. When I say certain things like, make this voice, you know, you don't take that seriously, but take away the voice and I go, and I say it to you deadly serious, you'd probably still know it's a joke, but some people might not.
Yeah.
So that's all it is, you know. It's just context. Context is key.
Yeah.
And all these clips that are clipped up, someone can make something of me just then and take it out of context and be like, oh my goodness, he's this and that. You know, it's easy. It's easy to just be like 15 seconds, take something, make someone look like an idiot. And we live in the era where that's happened. So yeah, that's what it was.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That's
interesting.
That's a great answer. I wanted to ask you something. I wanted to sort of bring it back to something that's a bit like pretty relative, selfishly relative to me, I suppose, and also the people that might listen to this podcast is like, you know, in the trades industry, right? There's like this misconception that I hear every day, and I hear people say, "Oh, I want to go and start my own business because I want to do whatever I want whenever I want." This is the sort of stuff we talk about at Odyssey and that.
Yes.
or I want to start my own business because I want more money and I also want to have more time, and I'm like, that just shit doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
And no one would know that really unless they've been on the business side of the fence. And I wanted to ask you, is there any like misconceptions you see of like in your line of work now, being a social media influencer, that young people think, oh, Louis must be driving Lambos and having free dinners everywhere. I'd like to just hear some of the misconceptions that you may have thought your life might look like and now it is, or from what that young people think it is, but what it really is.
I get asked this a lot, and I haven't really answered it fully. So this is good. I'm glad you brought it up. I was always preparing from a young age of what things would be. I was always preparing in my mind that people come up to me and that I need to watch my back because of people know who you are and things like that. So it hasn't shocked me because I sort of have seen it coming, and it's been everything I thought about. So I've obviously thought about the ins and outs. I think people who maybe don't want it as bad as I want it will have that perception. But if you look a little bit closer at what people do and the time it takes, just for example, I always say this one to people. How many people do you know personally that have I'm a TikToker on their tax? Like, not just like, because I've had someone say on the live, I'm a TikToker. I'm like, oh, cool. Like, and they look at them and it's like 2,000 followers. I'm like, really? I said, okay, do you make money from it and stuff? They're like, no, I just have fun. I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's not on the tax record. Sorry, but that's not officially a TikToker. So I say, how many people do you know that are a TikToker? None. So there must be some, one. It might be some, there must be some level of, this must be a little bit harder than I thought. So I always say, like, look at what you do. How many people are there that drive in Lamborghinis? Not many.
Barely any.
So there must be some level of like, oh, that's a bit hard to do. And I was always logical with it when I was younger. I never just look at things logically. If you don't know many people that do it, Olympic athletes, for example, everyone, when they're younger wants to be a sports star, AFL player. The reason it's so hard is because there's not many people doing it and it's hard to do. So if you want to do something that's like that, just know it's going to be hard, and I think if you know that life's going to be hard, this is the problem. People are told that life's meant to be easy and it's all going to be great, and we pump everyone up with motivation, all this stuff at school, and everyone's a winner. And then we go out into the real world and everyone loses because they don't know that it's a struggle. Life is a struggle. It's always been a struggle since like day one, go out and hunt, and, if you don't get food, you die. Like there's, if you get an illness back in the day, there wasn't like, oh, go to the hospital. It was even tougher. It's even tougher now. Sorry. It was even tougher back then. It's easier now. We live in the easiest time in history. I think looking at history as well, I think I was always interested in history when I was younger. And I think that helped me realize that there's battles, there's wars, there's terrible things that happen. I think if you know that there are terrible things that are going to happen, that you prepare for them. Like I look back at history, look at the wars, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is crazy. So I was prepared for, maybe being a social media influencer isn't going to be what it is. And it was like a step down. I was like, oh, okay, all right, whatever. Yeah. It was like, well, I guess so. Yeah, cool. Well, better get on with the day. It wasn't like a soul destroying act, because a lot of people ask me that. You'd be really surprised. A lot of people, they always say like, oh, did you think it was this and it wasn't like that? No, I knew that. Like, I thought it was going to be worse. I thought there's going to be people trying to come and like, I don't know, people follow you around. There's weird people out there. There's crazy people. I thought it was going to be worse.
Did you?
So yeah, I'm actually like, I'm
stoked.
I'm forever grateful. Like, seriously, I did not think that I'd be able to have an audience like this, to meet people like yourself, to hang around, people that are very successful, this and that. The doors is opened. I have a very high mission, but my expectations are like, well, everyone could say no and no one could like me. So everything plus that is awesome. That's why everyone thinks like I'm like, in the brain there's like, something like, oh, why are you so happy all the time? No, I just have extremely low expectations, but I want high results. That when the expectations are exceeded, I'm like already like, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah,
like,
that's
oh,
such
wow.
a great mindset.
we're like, oh, you know, we've got on a podcast. Oh, you know, whatever. Wow, look at the setup. This is so cool. Oh, awesome. You know, already in a good mood.
Yeah.
There's always something. I always say there's always
a way of doing it. Like,
there's always something to be thankful for, and that's how I never ever like have a bad day. My job also makes me perform. I can't have a bad day.
Yeah.
For 3 years, my income is contingent on my mood.
Yeah.
Because no one wants to pay you if you're not in a good mood.
Mm-hmm.
No one wants to see Justin Bieber up on stage when he's like, yeah, guys, so like I had a really bad day and I don't really want to be here.
Is it too late?
No, so I'm sorry, guys. You know, no one wants to see that. And that's what my job's been with the lives. So yeah, it's been good. Get accountable for something. Get people that rely on you.
Yeah.
You know, like being a boss, you can't be like, you know, doing stupid stuff all the time because there's people who rely on you. So that was a really good thing. And then, that's pretty much it.
Sick.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a good answer. I've just gone back to the business side of things. Do you have, I'd like to know if you've got any advice for a company that's trying to like expand their social media or even just to start their social media? And, well, I had a second part to that question, but we've already covered it. So yeah, do you have any advice to companies that are trying to grow their social media following?
Yeah. I think a lot of companies will be at the stage where if they do start their socials and start doing it in a way that influencers do it, they'll feel like they're doing something wrong. Mm-hmm. And like I said before, if you feel like you're doing something wrong, you're just early.
Yeah.
So if you're the only,
I like that.
If you're the only person doing it, get prepared.
You do get
and bunker down and make sure you're the one.
Yeah.
Because people are coming.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure when they come, you're the best.
Oh, that speaks to me right now.
Yeah.
Because, even starting like 2 podcasts, people are just looking at me like, you're the biggest flog ever. Like, you know, what do you not do any work anymore? And like, you just get all this pushback. But I keep saying to myself, you know, I know I'm on the right track. I know I'm doing the right thing. They just don't get it yet.
Yeah.
But they will.
You know what's really interesting? My first ever clothing line. This was the on the back of the shirt, because this is so relevant for everyone, and it was relevant for me at the time. It says, "People don't understand, but they will."
Yeah.
And I think it's very relevant.
Yeah.
In that context, especially if you're early. Sorry. If you feel like you're doing something wrong, usually early, especially with social media. Because just wait, because
that's so gold.
Because if you wait too long,
now
there's too many competitors.
Yeah.
So you've got a leg up now. So while it's like this is why, you know, I love things that are new, because I'm like, you're the first one. All right, this is awesome. You've got to make this the best. Mm-hmm. You know.
So it's like, you know, for companies to want to start social media, it's like, you know, I mean, so starting social media is, you'd hope they already have, but it's like, you're going to be competing against someone who's already punched out like 3,000 videos. So, you know, if you've only got 100, it's going to be hard. So it's like getting on that front foot to already establish that base sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's why we live in a time of, you've got to know the time we live in and the pace of it. So back in the day, it was like inventing, and everyone was, you know, even actually back in the day, that's still speed. The word I was going to say was speed. So the world is fast. Everyone wants what you have, and you want what they have. So knowing that, you've got to work a little bit. It's competitive. It's like sports, you know. Everyone at the race wants to win. So you've got to work out how you can win, and that's sort of what it is. And it doesn't mean that there's like, you don't have to, you have to belittle the people that are not winning, but it means that if you want to win the race, train when it's winter, train when it's before the sports day, not just like 2 weeks before, you know, and expect like, oh, I didn't get the results I want. You've got to work like what I do is I work like I'm surprised I don't have more.
Yep.
So when I upload this many videos, when I've been doing this for so long, I go, how am I not on 5 million followers? Look at what I'm doing. This is, okay, back to the work. It doesn't affect me, but it's like you have to work like you're surprised you're not getting there. But yeah, getting back to what you were saying is that within context, like if you're advertising a company and it's got nothing to do with it, and the videos are going well, you might be building an audience that's not to do with them. But if it's on par and you got like, you know, plumbing, for example, you could talk about mental health, you could talk about, you know, strength, gym, fitness, like, you know, you could really talk about, and even if you wanted to go on a tangent of like talking about cars or whatever, you still could. So, I mean, yeah, I think get started is the best thing.
Yeah.
You gotta be quick.
Yeah.
Gotta be quick.
Yeah. How much energy do you put into the engagement with your fan base, like the, you know, commenting and all that sort of stuff? Because I'm guessing it's like, it's not just always about the punching out videos. You also have to have that engagement, which is obviously what you do with like the lives, because that's where you're actually engaging with them. But do you put a lot of energy into the comments as well, or?
Yeah, it's getting to the stage now where, well, if I actually replied to all the comments that I had every day, I'd get blocked because it thinks it's a spam.
Okay.
So I actually can't physically reply to all the comments. I don't know how many comments you can reply to, but I think if you just go comment and you just comment in a row, like 50 times on the same post, which would be a reply, it blocks you out. It thinks there's something wrong.
Thinks you're a bot or something.
Yeah. So I can't actually reply to every comment, but yeah, engage. Communication and connection is the word. Connection is the word. Most people have an audience, but they're not connected with them. Do you know what I mean? I know people with a high following, but their audience doesn't really care about them. So with a company, you want to realize that if you connect with people, for example, it might be going live with people for like 5 minutes a day. That's like nothing. It might be showing them something new, this and that. Just try out whatever works. And this whole professionalism thing, like, we don't even buy off professionalism, really. Like, we buy off connection. Yeah, if it's professional as well, that's an added bonus. But we buy off connection. Like, we buy things, I can't even think of anything right now off the top of my head, but we buy off like who we think the person is that we're buying off, not actually what the company is.
Like when you spoke about before, like Nike, where they're not really selling shoes. They're selling like, you know, what is their slogan? I don't know if we've spoken
Just
about
do
before.
it.
You know, and like how they wear for all athletes or whatever. And, you know.
Yeah,
whatever that is, but yeah.
And that's exactly right.
And I when you mentioned that before, I want to ask, like, is it more about, I wouldn't say more, but it seems like it can also be not just the amount of followers you have, but like the quality of the followers, if you know what I mean. Like you said, how some might have 5 million followers, but they're not really engaged.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and that's key with business, isn't it? Because you could have a lot of, there's two ways of doing it, you know. If you have 1 million people that pay $1, that's a lot of money. If you have 10 people that pay $1,000, that's still a lot of money. Yeah. So I guess, I always say to people, because people have been asking me about social media recently, because it's all gone crazy, right? I say there's rules, listen to what I say, but there's also not rules. You could break my rules and overtake me in followers. Yeah. I want you to do that. I want everyone to do that because I like competition, but there's rules and there's not. There's certain rules, like, you know.
Yeah. It's a hard question to answer, I know.
It's an interesting one because I know people that are like, you know, doing yo-yos and they have millions of followers, like doing yo-yos, you know, it's crazy. You would sort of think like, who would want to watch
One
yo-yos?
of Luke's friends, I don't know, you might know him, he's super popular on YouTube and he just opens Pokemon cards. He's an Adelaide fella.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and he just has like Lambos and all this stuff, and he's just been doing that for a long time. And I think that's one of the things I wanted to say is like, probably what some people don't realise is like maybe the work that you put in before, you know, like you said, like before you said you've been making YouTube videos since you were 6. Yeah. You know, but and like the same goes to, I don't know the Pokemon guy, but it's Luke's mate, and I know that he's been doing it since he was like in year 8. But people don't see all that body of work that goes in. Hey, well, a lot of time they don't see that. Well,
exactly. I related it back in the day to uni. Someone said that, I don't know who it was, but someone also said to me, they said, social media game is just like a degree, but it's just a little bit different. You have to make your lessons and things. So what I did basically is said, all right, I want to be a master at social media. What's a master in uni? That's like a doctor, right? GP. How many years does that take? 10 years. All right. Well, you're going to have to work like a doctor does
That's a great way to look at
for
it.
10 years.
Yeah.
And then you can start complaining about where you're not where you want to be. But people
That's
will
brilliant.
people will upload videos for 10 minutes and wonder why they're not a doctor.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like,
that's a great way to think.
because I have friends who are doctors, they've been doing it for like, they're going to be there for like 15 years.
Yeah.
15 years.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, I just like that analogy, man. We should clip that out.
Yeah.
And put that somewhere. That's
Let's
a really
do
good
it.
analogy. I love that. I'll wrap it up now because I've probably got to go home and try and be a dad too. I could be here all day. We should probably go for round 2, I think.
Oh, 100%. Let's do it. We'll be back.
I guess to wrap it up, wanted to ask you, like, what you spoke about your mission. So what are your like current and more long-term goals, and also can you just let us know what your mission is?
Yeah, that's a very good question. My mission overall, it's changed over the years, but my mission, which has stuck with me for years, which I can't neglect now, is to make the world a better place, and that's the umbrella term, but to really leave an impact, because life is short, and on the way home today, either of us could get hit by a car. This might be the last podcast.
Yep.
Ever. And that might sound depressing for some people, but it's actually quite a beautiful
You got to
thing.
keep it in mind, hey.
It's a beautiful thing because it means that every day you should be giving your all, because, you know, things might end. And I think that having that behind me, like chasing me, the fact that life's so quick, means that I am conscious of the conversations I'm having, conscious about the way I live, and if it's actually doing something for the world in a good way, or is it just sort of fun and entertainment? Because for the last few years, it's just been entertainment, you know, and fun, which is needed to be, because that's kind of what gave me the platform to talk to people. But this day and age, in my, you know, maybe I'm just getting older and more mature, but I'll start reading audiobooks on YouTube and things like that. But you start to think, you know, what is it all about? And I think entertainment serves its purpose, and it's great because it flicks you out of a bad mood. It's great, which is serving a purpose. But, you know, lessons and teachings and things like that is that can impact generations. You know, there's things that your fathers taught you, that my father taught me, that 5 generations before the grandfather taught them, and that actually that's how you become timeless and viral forever.
Yeah, so you're like thinking about you're already starting to think about like leaving a legacy.
That's the word. That's the word. Because once I stop uploading, when I'm, you know, whatever, not that I'll stop uploading, but, you know, if anything did happen, the videos would stop, right?
Yeah.
But the message is something that would be timeless.
Yep.
You know, and that's really what it's all about. That's what I want to leave.
That's awesome. For how old are you? 20?
25,
For
yeah.
a 25-year-old man, you got to. I wasn't thinking like that when I was 25. And just lastly, do you have any like cool projects on the go, or future endeavours you're working on that you could share?
Yeah.
Or some of them might be a bit, you know, confidential at the moment, but
No, well, this is the thing. My life's very quick. So, like, next week we could be doing, like, something here, there, you know. So, one thing that I want to do is start to work with companies to actually do this bit on a bigger scale, you know, and actually really get into it and actually try and help them out a bit more. So, that's one thing. The other thing, just on the brand side of things, just doing some stuff with booking.com. So that'll be pretty fun, you know, doing some travels, some trips, always good to, you know, go on a little bit of a travel here and there. And just cracking away at the lives, just applying more pressure and listening to what people need, because that's what I love to. I think helping out people is a beautiful, beautiful thing. So that's why the companies thing is really cool. So that's probably the next step in the next year or so. Try to work with some companies and take their socials to the next level. You know, give them the effort they're putting in the business. Give them that light on social media. You know. Yeah,
that sort of consult like that. Is that like the consulting maybe sort of?
Yeah, that's probably the right word.
You'd be sick at that, like, you know, when like we've talked about it before. When I've come to you and I've said, like, man, this, you know, I know like what I want to achieve, and I know the content I can create, and someone like you can come in and be like, yeah, but let's just take this little twist on that and flip that this way. And then that can become like possibly viral, you know, because a person like me, I can think about like what I want to achieve, but you are really good at the like execution, which I think would be a sick like niche to go down with, you know, and you'd be so good at it with working with companies to get their message into a more viral, engaging way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, thank you, man.
Yeah.
I think well, it's the thing, because I'm spending, you know, conversations with like at 3 a.m, 4 a.m with mates, like, oh, this change, that change, you know, all this forecasting of the weather kind of thing. And I think companies, if they just get the weatherman in and say like, hey, look, this could be this and that, and they could win, you know, like I can be like, hey guys, I got the cheat codes, you know, it's almost like, it's almost like the market, you know, like I can be like, all right guys, I've been up all night, you know, look at studying the market and doing this and that, and here's what I think's going to happen, you know, you can do whatever you want, but I've just seen this work and that works, and I can give you all the cheat codes. I come in and give the companies the cheat codes, and they just do whatever I give them kind of like the structures. They just put their formulas in it, and then hopefully gives them a better chance, you know. That's kind of what because this is the thing, I think this is where this has come from. Final points is, where this has come from is, I was always looking for someone to do that for me, like to go like, hey bro, let me help you out, and there was never really anyone who was wanted to like help me. It was all sort of like, oh yeah bro, it was all this mystery, like how do you make it? Is it just like luck? Is it one day you're gonna take off? I'd wake up every day and be like, oh, I hope I'm gonna be viral, and there was no plan to it. So when I talk to younger kids, when I talk to companies, when I talk to people who want to be influencers, I love giving them the secrets, because it's something that I never got. So they say we become the person we needed as a child, and I think that when I was younger, I would have loved that guidance on socials. So now I've just sort of been like, all right, well, cool. Now I've, you know, made it happen the long way. I can help you cut corners, and I think that that's going to be a lot more valuable instead of mucking around for 10 years, you know, or 3 years, 2 years, going, oh, what are we doing? I can be like,
just accelerate that shit. Like,
accelerate it, you know, and be like, right, you're doing this, try this, try that, try that, try this, try that, and hopefully they can accelerate it. Yeah, accelerate is the word.
It's a great idea. Can you let everyone know where they can find you on the interwebs?
Yep. So Parsley, all my socials are Parsley, PARSL3Y. That's on TikTok, that's on Insta, and we just got verified on Insta, by the way. And then we got Snap.